Is it appropriate to talk to the master all the doubts that comes to our mind, or just accepting the Guru all the time that he is in his being is enough? He is in your being is enough. Your doubts are not worth answering. Please be very clear. Most of the time your doubts are not worth answering. If you just keep them for a few days, it will disappear. I have seen people coming and asking me big questions. One guy came to me and asked, Swamiji, how to achieve God, how to achieve Brahmajnana, how to achieve self-realization. Please teach me, Swamiji. I just started talking to him. How are you? You are from where? Which city? What your wife is doing? What you are doing? And he started answering, I am from this city, I am doing this work, I am this, I am that. After that 3 hours he was with me, he did not even remember these questions. He did not even remember this question. It means what? The question is asked just because he has to ask something. It is not a real question. It is not quest. It is just casual time pass. Casual time pass. You have to ask something because you have time. Asking just for the sake of asking is not question. So most of your doubts are not even worth answering because they don't even exist. By the time I finish, they will not be there. I have seen people, they will just give questions and they will be sitting. When I answer, they will not even know that I am answering their doubts. They will forget. By the time I answer their doubts, they will forget that it is their doubts. So you don't even have to ask all the doubts to the master. Just accept there is a master, that's enough. All the questions will disappear. All the questions will disappear. I am just answering these questions so that it can create little more questions in you. You will understand that questions can never be solved, it can only be dissolved. Questions can never be solved, only questioner can be dissolved. It is a process towards dissolving the questioner. Question and the questioner, both of them are two different persons. You put the questions which you don't have. The moment you put the question which you have, the questioner and the question becomes one, immediately you become enlightened. If the questioner and question, both of them becomes one, if they integrate, if they become one, simply you become enlightened. You can question only as long as the question and the questioner are two different beings. It means you are not putting the question which you want to ask. So all your questions are nothing but lies. All your questions are nothing but just wastage of time. Because the moment you ask the question which you want to ask, you will have the answer. Enlightenment. You become liberated. Dear Swamiji, how do you know which type of relationship one should have with the Guru? Mother, father, etc. Some days you want mother, some days you want a friend, some days you want a father. Oh God, this is a nice question. Sweet question. You see, sometimes father does the job of mother, but you know he is a father. Sometimes mother does the job of father, mother does the job of friend, mother does the job of teacher, mother does the job of your Lord or anything, but you know he is a mother. See, no relationship is watertight, compartmented. Be very clear. All relationship will have the flavor or masala of all the other 4 relationships and something more. So you don't have to think, if I take the attitude of mother, I'll see only as a mother. No. Sometimes he will be father also, he will be friend also, he will be a beloved also. So be very clear, it is not that all these relationships are watertight, compartmented. Watertight, compartmented. So it will be mixture of all the other things also. But the major portion will be this one. The majority of your being will be connected to that one relationship. Otherwise it is not that. You will not have other relationships. When Hanuman said, "You are my Lord" to Rama, Rama says, no, you are my friend, and he hugs him. So Rama can elevate Hanuman to the friend level. And when Arjuna says that you are my friend to Krishna, at some time Krishna shows, fool, I am your Lord. I am not just your friend. Then this, by showing Vishwarupa in Bhagavad Gita, then this fellow gets frightened and says, oh, I called you as Yadava, I called you as my Saka, please forgive me, I thought you are my friend. I called you, hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Saketi. What great mistakes I did. And he starts feeling and rolling on the ground. So don't think these relationships are watertight, compartmented. Sometimes you will have a mixture of all the relationships to have a little taste. Dear Swamiji, how do you surrender to Guru completely without any doubts? Sometimes doubts come up after surrendering to Guru. Please be very clear. If doubts come up after surrendering to Guru, you have not surrendered. Doubts can never come up after surrendering to Guru. So correct the statement. How do you resolve the guilty feeling of following someone else when you still believe in some another Guru or teacher? Is there a way to overcome this tremendous guilty conflict? Now comes an important subject called Guru conflict. Comes subject called Guru conflict. Guru conflict is nothing but a conflict which is inside you. There is no conflict between the real masters. If the Rama and Krishna meets, they will hug each other. But Rama's monkeys and the Krishna's cows will always have fight. If the Rama and Krishna meet with each other, they will hug each other. They will be friendly with each other. But the Rama's monkeys and Krishna's cows will always have fight. So be very clear. Guru conflict is nothing but a conflict which is inside you, your own ego. Energy is one and the same. All masters are embodiment of same energy. There is no need for any conflict. I always tell people, go around, pluck flowers from all the gardens and make a beautiful bouquet. If you really pluck flowers from one garden, you will become master of plucking flowers from any garden. When you go to the next garden, you will be plucking more flowers, better flowers. If you are just doing window shopping, please be very clear, you are not learning from any guru. When you go from second guru to first guru, or third guru from second guru, if you are learning more deeply, if you are attached more deeply, if you are growing more deeply, if you are intense, then you can be sure you are learning. You can move from guru to guru. If it is not happening, better keep with one guru, stay with one guru. If you are not able to learn from one, what are you going to learn? From the other. First thing, going from guru to guru is not wrong. If you are learning, if you are doing window shopping, going to the first guru itself is wrong. Going to the first guru itself is wrong. If it is for learning, going to any number of gurus is perfectly alright. Go as many numbers as possible if you are learning. Otherwise, if you are just doing window shopping, stop, enough. Drop even from the guru with whom you are living and be happy. Don't torture him and torture yourself. So this is the way you can come out of this guilt conflict.
Like in the U.S. where we don't have many enlightened people that express that they're enlightened. And so sometimes, you have to almost go every time you think that person's enlightened. And they're not really they're your guru as a teacher, but they're not your path.
Then move out of him, that's all.
But,
if you feel that he is only a teacher, not a path,
no,
then
I mean, to say you have a guru that is your path.
Then follow only that person.
But then another guru comes along. Well, we don't see them in the U.S. We don't have ashrams like that where you go and you're with your guru. So maybe you have a guru and that's your path, and then over the years you meet other ones that give you other things, but you don't really give up your old guru.
Yes, there is no need to give up.
Embrace them all.
There is no need to give up. If you are really learning from all the other gurus, you don't have to give up. If you are learning, you don't have to give up any number of gurus. You don't have to give up any guru. If you are not learning, give up all the gurus and be relaxed. That's enough. That's the thumb rule. That's the thumb rule. And I tell you, thumb rule is your heart will simply fall. You will not even think of looking for another one. Then, done. Nothing more needs to be done. No, Guru will accept anybody. Guru is a person who accepts anybody.
It's not true, Swamiji. After I used to listen to so many lectures, go to so many places. After seeing you and meeting you, that craving to go anywhere else is not there now. I am so satisfied.
She says that before meeting me, she used to have a craving to go here, go there, listen lectures, these, that, everything. So many things. After meeting me, the very craving has disappeared. It means you met your Guru. That's all over. You got the Guru. Reach the destination, arrive. That American, that navigator will tell, destination arrived. That's the same thing. Destination arrived. That's all. You don't need anything else. How long we need the master? As long as you can differentiate between master and disciple, you need master. There will be a time where that difference will disappear. The idea of master and disciple will disappear. Then you don't need master. What happens if one changes the master? Again, question is answered. If you are learning, changing the master is perfectly alright. If you are just doing window shopping, that's not going to help you. Can a disciple relate to the master remotely? Yes, you can relate. Does a master have any exclusive individual relationship with every disciple? Yes. With many disciples, he has got exclusive individual relationship. Don't confuse the other relationships with your relationship. With somebody, he will call as a mom. With somebody, he will be more like a friend. With somebody, he will be like a lord. But the people with whom he behaves like a lord are the Dasa Baba. They always think, see, they are all nice, great people. He always calls them mom, and he always laughs with them, smiles with them. He never fires them. And for us, he always gives only puja, firing. Never compare. With each one, he has got different attitude. He makes you grow in his own way. The relationship between man, Guru and God. Who is Guru and who is God? The relationship between man, Guru and God. If you don't have Guru, man and God are separate. If you have Guru, man and God are one and the same. If you don't have Guru, man, Guru, God are separate beings in your life. The moment you have Guru, man, Guru, God, all the three becomes one in your life. And if you have Guru, there is no man, no God, no Guru. If you don't have Guru, there is man, there is Guru, there is God. There is always conflict. So, the relationship between man, Guru and God is, Guru is the bridge between man and God. Guru is the bridge between man and God. The moment Guru happens in your life, you become God. As long as Guru is not happening in your life, you are just man. Man plus Guru is God. God minus Guru is man. Man plus Guru is God. God minus man is, God minus Guru is man. That's all.